This number changes everything when you sell your home. And most sellers do not pay attention until it's already started working against them. I'm talking about days on the market. It is not just a number on a listing. It affects how buyers see your home, how agents talk about your home, how much leverage you have, and how strong your negotiating position may be. So if you're thinking about selling a home in Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, Norfolk, Suffolk, or anywhere in Hampton Roads, this is something you need to understand before your home ever hits the market. Now, I'm Scott Stamper, the Cowboy Real Estate Agent, and I help homeowners across the Hampton Roads area make smarter decisions when it comes time to sell. And today, we're talking about something simple but very important: days on market. You also hear it called DOM. Now, days on market basically means how long a home has been actively listed for sale. Sounds simple enough, right? But here's where sellers get caught off guard. Buyers pay attention to it. A buyer's agent pays attention to it. And appraisers may notice it too. And whether fair or not, the longer a house sits, the more questions people usually start asking. Now, that does not always mean something is wrong with the home. A house can be perfectly fine and still lose some momentum if it sits too long. And that is why the first few days and weeks of your listing matter so much. Now, before we get too deep into it, if you're thinking about selling in Virginia Beach or anywhere across the Hampton Roads region, and you want a simple breakdown of how days on market can affect your sale, please just DM me the word DOM. I'll send you my days on market cheat sheet for sellers. It is a simple guide that shows what sellers need to pay attention to before the listing goes live, while the home is active, and if the home starts sitting longer than expected. Again, just DM me the word DOM and I'll send that to you right now. All right, let's get on with it. Point number 1, days on market shapes buyer perception. Here is the first reason DOM matters. Just like I said, it shapes buyers' perception. When a home first hits the market, it usually feels fresh. Buyers see it pop up in their searches. Agents send it to their clients. People who have been watching the market notice it. That fresh listing window is important because that is when curiosity is usually the strongest. Buyers are thinking, what is this one? Is this the one we have been waiting for? Should we schedule a showing? That is the attention a seller wants. But when that same listing sits for a while, the conversation can slowly change. Instead of buyers asking, should we go see it, they may start asking, why hasn't this home sold? Is it overpriced? Is it something wrong with it? Do they have room to negotiate? Now, again, that does not mean the house is bad. There are many reasons a home can sit. It could be price. It could be condition. Could be timing. Could be the photos. Could be access for showings. Could be the competition. It could be the way the home was positioned on the market. But buyers do not always know the full story. They react to what they see. And one of the things they see is how long the home has been sitting there. That is why perception matters so much. Real estate is not only about the house itself, it is also about how the market responds to that house. Now, point number 2, older listings can invite tougher negotiations. The second reason days on market matters is negotiation. The longer a home sits, the more buyers may feel like they have room to push. Now, this does not mean every older listing gets lowball offers. That would not be the truth. But it does mean the seller's negotiating position can feel different depending on how the market views your home. When a home is brand new and getting strong activity, the seller may have more confidence. If showings are steady, feedback is strong, and buyers are interested, the seller may not feel as much pressure to make concessions. But if the home has been sitting with fewer showings, fewer questions, and no serious movement, buyers may sense that. They may ask for more repairs. They may come in with a lowball offer. And they may ask for closing cost help. They may think the seller is more motivated. And sometimes that is exactly what happens. Buyers and buyer agents are looking for leverage too. They are trying to figure out where they may have negotiating room. And days on market is one of the things they look at. This is why I tell sellers that pricing and preparation are not just about getting attention. They are about protecting your leverage. Now, you want to launch strong because your strongest position is usually when your home feels fresh, competitive, and properly presented. Now, point number 3, pricing correctly from the start matters. Now, let's talk about this pricing. This is where sellers really need to be careful. A lot of homeowners think, well, let's just try a higher price and see what happens. And I understand why people think that way. Everybody wants to get the most money they possibly can. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is this: the market does not care what we want. The market responds to value. If the price feels out of line compared to similar homes, buyers may not even schedule a showing, or they may look at it online and then just move on. That is where sellers can lose valuable early momentum. Then after a few weeks, the seller may reduce the price. And sometimes a price reduction will help. But here is the challenge. Once the home has set for a while, some buyers may already have formed an opinion about it. Some may have already passed on it. Some may wonder why the price was reduced. And some may assume the seller is getting more motivated. So the goal is not to just get the highest list price. The goal is to choose a price that creates the best chance for strong buyer interest, quality showings, and solid negotiation position. A good pricing strategy looks at the current competition, recent comparables, sales, condition, location, layout, upgrades, buyer demand, and what else is available in that price range. Now, in Virginia Beach and across the entire Hampton Roads region, buyers compare homes quickly. They are looking at neighborhoods, commute, schools, condition, lot size, updates, flood zones, HOA costs, and overall value. So if your home is priced too far above what buyers believe it is worth, the market may respond by ignoring it. And silence from the market is feedback. It may not be the feedback a seller wants, but it is feedback nonetheless. Now, point number 4, launch prep matters before the listing goes live. Days on market also makes launch preparation more important. Too many sellers think selling starts the day the listing goes live. Now, this is completely untrue. The sale begins before the home hits the market. The preparation matters. That includes cleaning, decluttering, minor repairs, curb appeal, photos, access, pricing, marketing, and positioning. The goal is to remove as many buyer objections as possible before buyers walk through the door. Because once the listing is live, the clock starts. And every day your home is active, buyers are watching. And if the home does not show well, if the photos are weak, if the price feels off, or if showings are hard to schedule, that can hurt your momentum. In real estate, you do not get a second chance to be a brand new listing. You can adjust later, but you cannot fully recreate that first launch feeling. That is why sellers should not rush onto the market unprepared. Sometimes taking a little extra time before listing can help protect the seller after it goes live. Now, that does not mean every home needs a major renovation, not at all. Sometimes the best prep is simple. Clean the home deeply, open up the space, remove distractions, touch up obvious items, improve curb appeal, and make sure the photos are strong. Make sure the pricing matches the condition and the location, and make it easy for buyers to say, this one is worth seeing. That is the whole point. Now, point number 5, DOM does not mean the same thing in every market. Now, something important needs to be said here. Days on market does not mean the exact same thing in every market or every price range. A higher priced home may naturally take longer to sell than an entry-level home. A unique property, rural property, waterfront home, acreage property, or luxury home may need a different timeline. The same can be true for homes with special features, unusual layouts, or very specific buyer pools. So DOM needs context. A home sitting for a certain number of days in one neighborhood may mean something different than a home sitting that same amount of time in another area. Now, that is why sellers should not look at days on the market by itself. You need to compare your home to similar homes. Same area, similar price range, similar condition, property type, similar buyer pool. For example, a home in Virginia Beach near strong buyer demand may be viewed differently than a more unique property farther out with fewer comparable sales. Neither one is automatically good or bad. They just require different strategies. And that is why local market knowledge matters so much. A broad national headline will not tell you exactly how buyers are responding to homes in your specific part of Hampton Roads. You need local context. Now, point number 6. Buyer questions change as DOM increases. Another thing sellers need to understand is how buyer questions can change over time, right? Early in the listing, buyers may ask, how soon can we see it? Are there offers yet? What is the seller looking for? And how competitive is this one? That is the kind of energy a seller wants. But if the listing sits, buyers may start asking different questions. For example, why is it still available? Has the seller had any offers? Have they dropped the price? Do you think they would take less? Has anything come up on an inspection? Now, those questions may not always be fair, but sellers need to know that buyers ask them. And a buyer's agent asks them too. This is why being proactive matters. If showings slow down, you cannot ignore it. If feedback is consistent, you need to listen. If buyers are saying the same thing over and over, that is information. It may be price, it may be condition, the layout, or the location. It may be the other competition. But the market is always telling you something. Now, a strong listing strategy pays attention early, not after months of frustration. Now, point number 7. DOM can affect online attention. Now, another reason DOM matters is online visibility and buyer excitement. When a home first hits the market, it often gets the initial burst of attention. People see the new listing alerts. It may get shared. Agents notice it. Buyers compare it to what they have already seen. But as time passes, the listing may start to feel familiar. Buyers who have been watching the market may scroll past it because they have already seen it. That is one reason a price adjustment, new photos, better staging, or updated marketing can sometimes help. But sellers need to understand that the best time to create attention is at the beginning. That is when the home is fresh. That is when people are the most curious. That is when buyers who have been waiting may act quickly. So the launch needs to be taken seriously. You want the listing to hit the market looking strong from day one, with good photos, an accurate description, have clear value, correct pricing, easy showing access, strong presentation, because once buyers skip past it, it can be harder to get them back. Now, point number 8 is what sellers should do before the listing. So what should a seller actually do before the listing goes live? Here are a few practical steps. First, look at the real competition, not just what homes sold for 6 months ago. Look at what buyers can choose from right now. If a buyer has 3 similar homes to pick from, why would they pick yours? That question matters. Second, price with the market, not your emotions. I know that can be hard. Your home means a lot to you. You may have a lot of memories there. You may have put money into repairs or upgrades, but buyers are comparing value. They are looking at what else they can buy. Third, prepare the home before launch. Now, do not wait until after the listing goes active to fix obvious things that could have been handled up front. Fourth, make the home easy to show when possible. If buyers cannot get in to see it, it can hurt the activity. And fifth, watch the early feedback closely. The first week or two can tell you a lot. If showings are strong and feedback is good, that is extremely useful. If showings are weak and online activity is low, that is also useful. If buyers are showing up but not making offers, that tells you something different. The key is not to panic. The key is to pay attention and respond wisely. Now, point number 9, what sellers should avoid. Now, let's talk about what sellers should avoid. Let's see what this means. Avoid saying, we can always come down later, without understanding the risk. Yes, you can reduce later, but you may lose early momentum. Avoid ignoring feedback. If multiple buyers mention the same issue, pay attention. Avoid blaming the market too quickly. Sometimes the market is slower, and sometimes buyer demand changes, but sometimes strategy needs adjusting. Avoid comparing your home only to the highest price listing online. Just because another seller is asking a certain price does not mean they will get it. Active listings are competition. Sold listings show what buyers were actually willing to pay. And pending listings, when available, can help show where buyers are acting. Avoid going live before the home is ready. The listing clock matters. You want your first impression to be a strong one. Now, point number 10, the truthful mini story. Now, here's the simple truth. A house can be perfectly fine and still lose leverage if it sits too long. That does not mean the house is bad. It does not mean the seller did anything wrong on purpose. It just means perception matters. Buyers are human beings. They notice patterns. They compare options. They ask questions. And if your home has been sitting longer than similar homes, it can change how they approach it. Excuse me. That is why days on market is more than a statistic. It affects perception. It affects urgency. It affects negotiation, confidence, and it can affect the overall selling strategy. Now, the best way to protect yourself is to prepare properly before you launch and make decisions based on real market feedback. Now, point number 11 is local Hampton Roads seller advice. For sellers in Virginia Beach and the Hampton Roads area, this is especially important because every area is not one single market. Virginia Beach is different from Chesapeake. Chesapeake is different from Norfolk. And Norfolk is different from Suffolk. Even inside Virginia Beach, different neighborhoods and price ranges can behave differently. A home near oceanfront may have a different buyer pool than a home in Kempsville, Great Neck, Salem, Red Mill, Lagamar, Pungo, or Green Run. Condition matters, location matters, price range matters, buyer demand matters, and competition matters. That is why you cannot use a one-size-fits-all selling strategy. You need to know what buyers are doing in your specific segment of the market. Before you list, you want to know what similar homes are active. What has recently sold? How long did those homes sit? Did they have price reductions? How does your condition compare? And how does your location compare? How does your pricing compare? That information helps you make a smarter plan. And a smarter plan can help protect your leverage and your investment. Strong closings. So here is the big takeaway. Days on market is not just a number. It is a signal. It tells buyers how fresh your listing feels. It can influence how they negotiate. It can affect the questions they ask. And it can impact how much leverage you have as a seller. If you are thinking about selling a home in Virginia Beach or anywhere in the Hampton Roads area, do not wait until your home has been sitting to start thinking about this. Think about it before you list. Price it right. Prepare it right. And launch it right. And pay attention to what the market is telling you. If you want my simple seller guide, DM me the word DOM, and I will send you my days on the market cheat sheet for sellers in the Hampton Roads region. And if you're thinking about selling and want to know how your home would likely compete in today's Hampton Roads market, please just reach out to me anytime. All my information is in the description below, and I'll help you look at the numbers, the competition, and the strategy before you make a move. Now, like I said, I'm Scott Stamper. I'm the Cowboy Real Estate Agent, and I'll see you down the road.